Long before the invention of telescopes or satellites, ancient civilizations gazed at the night sky and asked questions that still echo today. How do we measure what we cannot see? How do we grasp the infinite when our world is so finite? Thousands of years ago, the ancient Egyptians turned to the stars, not just to tell time or navigate their world, but to chart the very boundaries of their understanding. They used the heavens as a map, a clock, and a guide, creating systems that allowed them to measure distances and time with astonishing precision. But their quest went beyond the practical. It was a search for meaning, a way to make sense of the vast, unknowable universe that surrounded them. This wasn't unique to Egypt. Across the globe, early societies developed tools, myths, and mathematical systems to tackle the infinite and the unknown. From the Mayans' intricate calendars to the Greeks' philosophical debates about the nature of infinity, humanity's drive to measure and understand has always been tied to our deepest questions about existence. How did these early thinkers approach concepts that were beyond their immediate comprehension? What tools did they create, and what stories did they tell themselves to make sense of the cosmos? In this video, we'll journey through the ingenious methods and philosophies of these ancient societies, uncovering how they grappled with the infinite and the unknown. From the stars above to the mysteries within, we'll explore the fascinating ways early civilizations tried to measure what couldn't be measured, and how their discoveries still shape our understanding of the world today. Join us as we dive into a world where science, myth, and wonder collide, and where the quest to understand the infinite began not with technology but with curiosity. One of the most profound challenges early societies faced was wrapping their minds around the idea of infinity, something without end, without limits. For ancient thinkers, infinity wasn't just a mathematical abstraction. It was woven into the very fabric of their world. They saw it in the endless cycles of nature, the rising and setting of the sun, the phases of the moon, the turning of the seasons. These rhythms gave them a sense of continuity, a reassurance that life itself was part of something much larger and eternal. The ancient Greeks were among the first to wrestle with the concept of infinity in a philosophical sense. Anaximander, a pre-Socratic thinker, introduced the idea of the apeiron, a boundless, indefinite substance from which all things emerged and to which they returned. For him, infinity wasn't just a physical reality but a cosmic principle, a way to explain the origins and order of the universe. This idea sparked centuries of debate, with later philosophers like Zeno of Elea using paradoxes to explore the nature of the infinite, challenging the very notion of motion and change. Meanwhile, in ancient India, mathematicians were approaching infinity from a different angle. Bhaskaracharya, a 12th century scholar, explored infinite series and laid the groundwork for calculus long before it was formally developed in Europe. His work showed that infinity wasn't just a philosophical musing. It had practical applications, helping to solve complex problems in astronomy and geometry. This blending of the abstract and the practical was a hallmark of how early societies engaged with the infinite. Infinity also found its way into art and religion, often serving as a powerful symbol of the eternal. The ouroboros, an ancient symbol of a serpent eating its own tail, represented the endless cycle of creation and destruction, a visual metaphor for infinity. In Mesoamerica, the Mayans envisioned time as an infinite spiral, captured in their long count calendar, which stretched across vast cycles of creation and renewal. These symbols weren't just decorative, they were deeply tied to how people understood their place in the cosmos. But how did these abstract ideas about infinity influence the tools and systems early societies used to measure the world around them? The connection between the infinite and the measurable was closer than you might think. By grappling with the boundless, ancient thinkers laid the foundation for practical innovations, from calendars to architectural designs. that allowed them to navigate both the heavens and the earth. The infinite wasn't just a concept to ponder, it was a challenge to solve, a puzzle to unlock, and in solving it, they gave us some of the earliest glimpses into humanity's unending quest to measure the immeasurable. The night sky was humanity's first classroom, a vast celestial canvas that early civilizations studied with unwavering curiosity. Long before the invention of modern instruments, ancient societies turned to the stars, the moon, and the sun to measure time and space, creating systems that shaped their understanding of the world. The Babylonians, for instance, were masters of precision. Over thousands of years, they meticulously recorded the movements of celestial bodies, compiling detailed tables that allowed them to predict eclipses and track the changing seasons. Their work wasn't just about observation, it was about prediction, a way to bring order to the seemingly chaotic dance of the heavens. In Egypt, the rhythm of life was tied to the Nile River, and its annual flooding became the heartbeat of their calendar. By observing the heliacal rising of Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, the Egyptians could predict when the Nile would flood, a crucial event for their agriculture. This celestial marker became the foundation of their calendar, dividing the year into 3 seasons: inundation, growth, and harvest. The alignment of their temples and monuments, like the Great Pyramid of Giza, with specific stars further reveals how deeply intertwined their architecture was with the cosmos. For the Egyptians, the stars weren't just tools for measurement, they were a bridge between the earthly and the divine. Across the Atlantic, the builders of Stonehenge crafted a monument that captured the rhythms of the sun. The massive stones, arranged in precise alignment with the solstices, served as both a calendar and a ceremonial site. During the summer solstice, the rising sun would perfectly align with the heel stone, casting a beam of light through the center of the structure. This alignment wasn't just a feat of engineering, it was a testament to the importance of celestial cycles in marking time and guiding rituals. Similarly, the Mayans, with their observatories at Chichen Itza, used the stars to create intricate calendars that tracked the passage of time with remarkable accuracy. Their long count calendar, which spanned thousands of years, reflected a deep understanding of cosmic cycles and their connection to human life. These early astronomical observations did more than just measure time, they helped societies navigate both the physical and spiritual unknown. The stars became maps for sailors, guiding them across vast oceans. The solstices and equinoxes marked sacred moments, connecting communities to the rhythms of nature. And the cycles of the moon and sun provided a sense of order, a way to make sense of the infinite expanse above. But how did these observations translate into measurable systems? The answer lies in the rise of mathematics, a tool that allowed ancient thinkers to quantify the patterns they saw in the sky. From the geometry of the Egyptians to the complex calculations of the Babylonians, mathematics became the language of the cosmos, transforming celestial observations into practical tools for navigation, agriculture, and spirituality. This interplay between observation and calculation would lay the groundwork for centuries of scientific discovery, proving that even in the face of the infinite, humanity's curiosity could find a way to measure and understand. Mathematics became the key that unlocked the door to the infinite for early civilizations. It wasn't just about counting or measuring, it was a way to make sense of the boundless and the unknown. The ancient Greeks, in particular, were fascinated by the idea of infinity, and their explorations often took the form of paradoxes designed to challenge conventional thinking. Zeno of Elea, for example, crafted a series of puzzles that seemed to defy logic, such as the famous paradox of Achilles and the tortoise. In it, Achilles, the fastest runner, could never overtake the tortoise if the tortoise had a head start, because he would always have to cover half the remaining distance first. These paradoxes weren't just intellectual games, they forced thinkers to confront the nature of infinity and continuity. sparking debates that would shape the foundations of mathematics for centuries. But the Greeks didn't stop at philosophy. Archimedes, one of the greatest minds of antiquity, developed a method known as exhaustion to calculate areas and volumes of shapes with curved boundaries, a precursor to modern calculus. By inscribing and circumscribing polygons within a circle, he could approximate its area with increasing accuracy, effectively narrowing the gap between the finite and the infinite. This method wasn't just theoretical, it had practical applications, from designing siege engines to understanding the principles of buoyancy. Archimedes' work showed that infinity wasn't just an abstract concept, it could be harnessed to solve real-world problems. Meanwhile, across the Mediterranean, the Babylonians were making strides of their own. Their base 60 number system, which divided circles into 360 degrees and hours into 60 minutes, laid the groundwork for modern timekeeping and geometry. This system wasn't arbitrary, it reflected their deep understanding of celestial cycles and their desire to create a universal framework for measurement. The legacy of their innovations can still be seen today, from the way we tell time to the way we navigate the globe. In ancient India, mathematicians took the concept of infinity even further. The introduction of zero as a numerical concept was a revolutionary leap, not just in arithmetic but in the way people thought about the infinite. Zero wasn't just a placeholder, it represented the void, the absence of quantity, and the potential for endless possibilities. Indian scholars like Brahmagupta and Bhaskaracharya explored the implications of zero in their work, using it to solve equations and describe infinite series. Their insights would later influence mathematicians in the Islamic world and Europe, paving the way for the development of calculus and modern mathematics. One of the most remarkable examples of early mathematical ingenuity is the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient Greek device discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece. This intricate machine, often called the world's first analog computer, was used to predict astronomical positions and eclipses with astonishing precision. Its gears and dials, meticulously designed to model the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, demonstrate how ancient thinkers combined mathematics and engineering to explore the infinite. The Antikythera mechanism wasn't just a tool, it was a testament to humanity's ability to turn abstract concepts into tangible, functional objects. These mathematical advancements didn't exist in isolation, they were applied in ways that transformed societies. In architecture, the principles of geometry allowed builders to create structures that seemed to defy the limits of human capability. The Egyptians used precise calculations to align the pyramids with the stars, while Greek architects employed the golden ratio to achieve perfect proportions in their temples. Even in engineering, mathematical concepts like leverage and fluid dynamics enabled the construction of aqueducts, catapults, and other feats of ancient technology. The infinite wasn't just a theoretical puzzle, it was a challenge to be conquered, and in doing so, these early mathematicians and engineers shaped the world we live in today. Ancient societies didn't just ponder the infinite, they built it into the very fabric of their world. From towering pyramids to sprawling temples, their architectural marvels were more than feats of engineering. They were expressions of humanity's attempt to grasp the boundless. Take, for instance, the Great Pyramid of Giza. This iconic structure wasn't just a tomb for a pharaoh, it was a cosmic map. Its sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, and its internal shafts point to specific stars like Orion's belt, which the ancient Egyptians associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife. For them, the pyramid was a gateway to eternity, a physical representation of their belief in life beyond death. It wasn't just a monument, it was a bridge between the earthly and the infinite. Moving eastward, the temples of ancient India offer another fascinating perspective. Hindu architecture often embraced fractal-like designs where intricate patterns repeat at different scales, creating a sense of endless complexity. These temples weren't just places of worship, they were microcosms of the universe, designed to reflect the infinite nature of creation. The towering gopurams, or gateways, adorned with countless carvings of gods and goddesses, seemed to stretch endlessly toward the heavens, symbolizing the infinite reach of the divine. Even the layout of these temples followed sacred geometry, with mandalas and yantras guiding their construction to align with cosmic principles. In medieval Europe, Gothic cathedrals took this idea even further. With their soaring spires and intricate stained glass windows, these structures were designed to evoke a sense of awe and transcendence. The use of sacred geometry, like the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence, ensured that every arch, every column, and every window reflected divine perfection. The pointed arches, for example, weren't just a stylistic choice. They were meant to draw the eye upward toward the heavens, reminding worshippers of the infinite nature of God. Even the labyrinthine floor patterns in some cathedrals symbolized the spiritual journey, a path winding toward the infinite. And then there's the Great Wall of China, a structure that seems to stretch into the unknown. While its primary purpose was defense, its sheer scale and the way it snakes across mountains and deserts evoke a sense of boundlessness. The wall wasn't just a barrier, it was a testament to human ambition, a physical representation of the desire to conquer the infinite, even if only symbolically. Each of these structures, in their own way, reflects how ancient societies used architecture to explore and express their understanding of the infinite. But what ties all these architectural wonders together is the philosophical and spiritual dimension they embody. They weren't just built to impress or to serve practical purposes. They were designed to connect people to something greater than themselves. Whether it was the eternal life promised by the pyramids, the cosmic order reflected in Hindu temples, the divine perfection of Gothic cathedrals, or the boundless ambition of the Great Wall, these structures remind us that the infinite isn't just an abstract idea, it's a part of who we are. Through architecture, ancient societies found a way to measure the immeasurable, to touch the untouchable, and to leave a lasting legacy that continues to inspire us today. Long before the concept of infinity became a mathematical puzzle, it was a profound philosophical question, one that ancient thinkers wrestled with in their quest to understand the nature of existence. In China, the sage Laozi introduced the idea of the Tao, an infinite and eternal force that flows through all things. Described as the way or the path, the Tao was both the source of creation and the underlying rhythm of the universe. Laozi's teachings emphasized harmony with this infinite force, suggesting that true wisdom lay in aligning oneself with the boundless flow of life. For him, the infinite wasn't something to conquer or measure, it was a principle to live by, a reminder of humanity's small but interconnected place in the cosmos. Meanwhile, in ancient Greece, Aristotle approached infinity with a more analytical lens. He made a crucial distinction between potential infinity, the idea that something could continue endlessly like counting numbers, and actual infinity, a state of being truly limitless. For Aristotle, actual infinity was impossible to achieve or comprehend. The universe, he believed, was finite yet eternal, a paradox that challenged the very notion of boundlessness. This tension between the finite and the infinite became a cornerstone of Western philosophy, influencing thinkers for centuries to come. In India, the concept of Brahman in the Upanishads presented yet another perspective on infinity. Brahman, described as the ultimate reality, was infinite, eternal, and all-encompassing, a cosmic essence that transcended time and space. The Upanishads proclaim, "From the infinite comes the infinite. When the infinite is taken from the infinite remains." This poetic statement captures the essence of Brahman, a reality so vast that it defies human comprehension. For Hindu philosophers, the infinite wasn't just an abstract idea. It was the very fabric of existence, a truth to be realized through meditation and spiritual practice. The Stoics of ancient Rome viewed the infinite through the lens of eternity. They believed in an eternal universe, one that cycled endlessly through creation and destruction. For them, infinity was not a distant concept but a lived reality, a reminder of the cyclical nature of life and the enduring order of the cosmos. This belief in an eternal universe provided a sense of stability and purpose, grounding their philosophy in the idea that all things are interconnected within an infinite framework. These philosophical interpretations of the infinite weren't just intellectual exercises, they shaped the spiritual and cultural practices of their time. In China, the Taoist reverence for the infinite influenced rituals, art, and governance, promoting balance and harmony with the natural world. In Greece, Aristotle's ideas about potential and actual infinity laid the groundwork for scientific inquiry, encouraging a systematic approach to understanding the cosmos. And in India, the concept of Brahman inspired a rich tradition of meditation and devotion, guiding individuals toward a deeper connection with the infinite. At the heart of all these philosophies was a shared tension, the awareness of humanity's finite existence in the face of an infinite universe. This tension wasn't just a source of existential angst, it was a catalyst for creativity and discovery. It drove ancient thinkers to ask profound questions, to seek meaning in the boundless, and to create systems of thought that continue to inspire us today. Whether through the Tao, Brahman, or the Stoics' eternal universe, these early interpretations of the infinite remind us that the quest to understand the unknowable is as much a part of being human as the air we breathe. And as we'll see next, these philosophical ideas didn't just stay in the realm of thought, they found their way into the rituals, art, and daily lives of ancient societies, shaping how they interacted with the infinite in tangible, meaningful ways. Religious and mythological traditions across the world have long been fascinated with the infinite, weaving it into the very fabric of their stories and rituals. For many ancient cultures, the infinite wasn't just an abstract idea, it was alive, personified in gods, symbols, and cosmic cycles that shaped their understanding of existence. Take the Norse world tree, Yggdrasil, for example. This immense ash tree, with its roots reaching into the underworld and its branches stretching into the heavens, was more than just a symbol of the universe, it was a living representation of infinity. Yggdrasil connected the 9 realms of Norse cosmology, embodying the endless interplay between life, death, and renewal. For the Vikings, this tree wasn't just a myth, it was a map of the infinite, a guide to navigating the mysteries of the cosmos. In Hindu mythology, the infinite takes on a different form through the god Vishnu, who presides over endless cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction. Each cycle, or yuga, spans billions of years, reflecting the vastness of cosmic time. Vishnu's role as the sustainer of the universe underscores the idea that infinity isn't static, it's dynamic, constantly unfolding in patterns of birth and rebirth. This concept is vividly captured in the image of Vishnu reclining on the serpent Ananta, whose name means endless. Together, they symbolize the infinite nature of existence, a reminder that the universe is both eternal and ever-changing. The ancient Egyptians, too, saw the infinite as a journey, particularly in their beliefs about the afterlife. For them, death wasn't an end but a passage into an eternal realm. The soul's journey through the Duat, the Egyptian underworld, was fraught with trials, but success meant joining the gods in an endless cycle of existence. The pyramids, with their intricate passages and chambers, were designed to mirror this journey, offering the deceased a path to immortality. This belief in an infinite afterlife wasn't just a comfort, It was a driving force behind their art, architecture, and daily rituals, shaping a culture deeply connected to the eternal. Buddhism offers yet another perspective on the infinite through the concept of samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. This cycle is driven by karma, the consequences of one's actions, and the ultimate goal is to break free from it through enlightenment. The infinite, in this context, isn't something to be celebrated but transcended. Yet, even within this framework, the infinite plays a central role, reminding practitioners of the vastness of time and the interconnectedness of all life. The Wheel of Dharma, a key symbol in Buddhism, represents this endless cycle, urging followers to seek liberation from the infinite. In Mesoamerica, the Aztecs envisioned time as a series of repeating cycles, each marked by the rise and fall of worlds. Their calendar system, with its intricate calculations, reflected this belief in cyclical infinity. Each cycle was thought to end in catastrophe, only to begin anew, creating a sense of both continuity and impermanence. This worldview shaped their rituals, from the construction of temples aligned with celestial events to the practice of human sacrifice, which they believed was necessary to sustain the infinite cycle of creation. Christianity, too, grapples with the infinite in its promise of eternal salvation. The concept of heaven as an everlasting paradise offers believers a vision of infinity as a state of perfect peace and union with the divine. This belief has inspired countless works of art, from the frescoes of the Sistine Chapel to the soaring arches of Gothic cathedrals, all designed to evoke a sense of the infinite. Even the cross, a simple yet profound symbol, represents the intersection of the finite Christ's human life with the infinite, his divine resurrection. These religious and mythological representations of the infinite weren't just abstract ideas, they shaped the values, practices, and daily lives of ancient societies. Rituals, from the lighting of candles to the chanting of mantras, became ways to connect the finite with the infinite, grounding people in a sense of something larger than themselves. Symbols like the ouroboros or the mandala served as visual reminders of the eternal, offering comfort and inspiration in the face of life's uncertainties. By personifying the infinite, these traditions gave people a way to engage with the unknowable, transforming it from a distant concept into a living reality. Whether through the Norse world tree, the cycles of Vishnu, or the promise of eternal salvation, these beliefs provided a framework for understanding the infinite, and in doing so, they shaped the very essence of human culture. As we'll see next, these ideas didn't just stay in the realm of myth and religion. They influenced how societies organized themselves, built their cities, and even governed their lives. Time has always been one of humanity's greatest mysteries, a force that governs our lives yet remains intangible and ever elusive. For early societies, measuring time wasn't just about tracking days or seasons, it was about making sense of the infinite cycles that shaped their world. The ancient Mesopotamians, for instance, turned to the moon, creating one of the earliest known lunar calendars. By observing the waxing and waning of the moon, they divided the year into 12 months, each corresponding to a lunar cycle. This system wasn't just practical, it was deeply symbolic, linking the rhythms of daily life to the celestial dance above. In Egypt, the sun took center stage. Their solar calendar, based on the annual rising of Sirius, divided the year into 3 seasons: inundation, growth, and harvest. This calendar wasn't just a tool for agriculture, it was a reflection of their belief in the eternal cycles of life and death. The Sed festival, celebrated after 30 years of a pharaoh's reign, symbolized the renewal of time itself, a ritual that reinforced the connection between earthly rulers and the infinite order of the cosmos. For the Egyptians, time wasn't linear, it was cyclical, a never-ending loop of creation and renewal. Across the ocean, the Inca of South America developed a solar calendar that aligned with the solstices and equinoxes, using massive stone structures like the Intihuatana at Machu Picchu to mark these celestial events. The Intihuatana, often called the hitching post of the sun, was believed to hold the sun in place during the solstice, ensuring its return and the continuation of time. This blend of astronomy and spirituality reveals how the Inca saw time as both a scientific measurement and a sacred force. In ancient China, timekeeping took on a unique duality. The sexagenary cycle, a combination of 10 heavenly stems and 12 earthly branches, created a 60-year cycle that intertwined time and space. This system wasn't just a calendar. It was a cosmic map connecting the passage of time to the movements of the stars and the flow of energy through the universe. Festivals like the Chinese New Year, tied to this cycle, celebrated the renewal of time and the harmony between heaven and earth. But how did early societies translate these observations into practical tools? The invention of timekeeping devices like sundials and water clocks marked a turning point. Sundials, which used the sun's shadow to mark the hours, were among the earliest attempts to divide the day into measurable segments. Water clocks, on the other hand, relied on the steady flow of water to track time, offering a more consistent measurement even at night or on cloudy days. These devices weren't just technological innovations, they were expressions of humanity's desire to tame the infinite, to bring order to the chaos of time. Timekeeping also played a central role in rituals and festivals, where the measurement of time became a way to connect with the divine. The Mayan New Year, for example, was marked by elaborate ceremonies that celebrated the renewal of time and the balance between the earthly and the cosmic. Similarly, the Babylonian Akitu festival, held at the spring equinox, symbolized the rebirth of the world and the reaffirmation of the king's divine mandate. These celebrations weren't just about marking time, they were about participating in the infinite, aligning human life with the eternal rhythms of the universe. The quest to measure time reveals a profound truth about early societies. Their understanding of time was inseparable from their understanding of the infinite. Whether through lunar cycles, solar calendars, or intricate timekeeping devices, they sought to capture the essence of time itself, a force that is both finite and infinite, fleeting and eternal. By measuring time, they weren't just tracking days or years. They were grappling with the very nature of existence, turning the infinite into something they could understand, celebrate, and even control. This connection between time and the infinite would continue to shape human thought, inspiring centuries of innovation and exploration as we strive to unlock the mysteries of the cosmos. Ancient societies didn't just measure time and the stars, they also sought to map the unknown, turning the vast and unfamiliar into something they could navigate and understand. One of the earliest known attempts at cartography comes from the Babylonians, who created the Imago Mundi, a clay tablet depicting the world as a flat disk surrounded by water. At its center was Babylon, with distant lands like Assyria and Elam marked as triangular shapes along the edges. This map wasn't just a geographical tool, it was a reflection of their worldview, blending myth and reality. The rivers and mountains weren't just physical features, they were symbols of order, framing the known world within a larger, unknowable expanse. The Polynesians, on the other hand, took a radically different approach. Without written maps, they relied on star charts and oral traditions to navigate the vast Pacific Ocean. By memorizing the positions of stars, the patterns of waves, and the flight paths of birds, they could traverse thousands of miles of open water with astonishing accuracy. Their understanding of the night sky was so precise that they could detect subtle shifts in the stars' positions, allowing them to pinpoint their location even in the middle of the ocean. For the Polynesians, the sea wasn't a barrier. It was a highway, and their knowledge of the stars transformed the infinite ocean into a navigable space. Exploration played a crucial role in expanding these early maps. The Phoenicians, renowned as master sailors, ventured far beyond the Mediterranean, establishing trade routes that stretched from North Africa to the British Isles. Their voyages weren't just about commerce, they were about discovery, pushing the boundaries of the known world and bringing back stories of distant lands. Similarly, the Silk Road traders connected the East and West, not just through goods but through knowledge. As they traveled, they collected information about the lands they passed through, creating a network of shared understanding that spanned continents. These explorers didn't just map physical spaces, they mapped cultures, weaving together a tapestry of human experience. Maps weren't always about the physical world, though. In ancient Egypt, the afterlife was as much a part of their reality as the Nile itself. The Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and illustrations, served as a guide for the soul's journey through the underworld. This symbolic map was filled with landmarks like the Hall of Judgment and the Field of Reeds, guiding the deceased through trials and toward eternal life. For the Egyptians, mapping the afterlife wasn't just about preparation, it was about ensuring continuity, a way to navigate the infinite beyond death. The Greek geographer Ptolemy took cartography to new heights with his work Geographia, a comprehensive guide to the known world that influenced map-making for centuries. Ptolemy didn't just rely on existing knowledge, he introduced mathematical principles, using latitude and longitude to create more accurate representations of the Earth's surface. His maps were a blend of science and imagination, incorporating both verified data and speculative details about distant lands. This combination of precision and mystery defined much of early cartography, reflecting humanity's dual desire to understand and explore. What ties all these maps together is the way they reflect both knowledge and mystery. Whether it's the Babylonians' flat world, the Polynesian star charts, or Ptolemy's detailed coordinates, each map reveals as much about the society that created it as it does about the world they sought to depict. They weren't just tools for navigation or exploration. They were expressions of curiosity, attempts to make sense of the infinite and the unknown. And as we'll see next, this drive to map the unknown didn't just shape ancient societies, it laid the foundation for centuries of discovery, inspiring explorers, scientists, and dreamers to push the boundaries of what we thought was possible. Art has always been a mirror of the human soul, and for early civilizations, it was also a way to grapple with the infinite. Across cultures, artists turned to symbols, patterns, and stories to capture the boundless and the eternal, creating works that transcended time and space. Take, for instance, the intricate spirals found in Celtic art. These swirling designs, often carved into ancient stones or woven into metalwork, weren't just decorative, they were a visual language for infinity. The endless loops and interconnected knots symbolized the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth, a reminder that everything in existence is part of a greater, unending whole. For the Celts, these patterns were more than art. They were a way to connect with the infinite, to see the eternal in the everyday. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the mandala serves a similar purpose. These circular designs, often filled with intricate patterns and symbols, are used in meditation and ritual to represent the universe and the infinite. Each layer of a mandala reflects a different aspect of existence, from the outer edges of material reality to the inner core of spiritual enlightenment. By focusing on the mandala, practitioners can visualize the journey from the finite to the infinite, a path that leads beyond the self and into the boundless. The mandala isn't just a tool for meditation, it's a map of the cosmos, a way to make the infinite tangible. Islamic art takes a different approach, using geometry to evoke the infinite. The mesmerizing patterns of Islamic tiles and mosaics, with their interlocking stars and polygons, create a sense of endless repetition and harmony. These designs, often found in mosques and palaces, aren't just beautiful, they're deeply symbolic. The repetition of shapes reflects the infinite nature of Allah, while the precision of the geometry mirrors the order and balance of the universe. For Islamic artists, these patterns were a way to express the divine, to bring the infinite into the realm of human experience. Storytelling, too, has been a powerful tool for exploring the infinite. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known stories, follows a hero's quest for immortality, grappling with the limits of human life and the desire for the eternal. Gilgamesh's journey isn't just a tale of adventure, it's a meditation on the infinite, a reminder that even the greatest heroes must confront the boundaries of existence. Similarly, the Mahabharata, an ancient Indian epic, weaves together countless stories of gods, kings, and warriors, creating a tapestry of human experience that spans generations. These epics aren't just entertainment, they're a way to explore the infinite through the lens of human emotion and aspiration. Even the cave paintings of Lascaux, created over 17,000 years ago, reflect a connection to the infinite. The images of animals, hunters, and abstract symbols aren't just records of daily life, they're a testament to humanity's timeless bond with nature. The artists who painted these walls weren't just capturing a moment in time, they were expressing a vision of existence that transcended the finite. For them, the act of creating art was a way to touch the infinite, to leave a mark that would endure long after they were gone. These artistic expressions didn't just reflect the infinite, they shaped cultural identity. Celtic spirals, Hindu mandalas, Islamic geometric patterns, and ancient epics all served as bridges between the finite and the infinite, grounding people in a sense of something greater than themselves. They weren't just art, they were a way of life, a way to navigate the mysteries of existence and find meaning in the boundless. Through art, early societies found a way to measure the immeasurable, to bring the infinite into the realm of human experience, and to create a legacy that continues to inspire us today. As we move forward, we'll see how these artistic and symbolic representations of the infinite influenced not just culture and identity, but also the way societies organized themselves, built their cities, and even governed their lives. The infinite wasn't just an abstract idea, it was a force that shaped the very fabric of civilization. The quest to measure the infinite and the unknown didn't just rely on observation and philosophy, it also demanded innovation. Early societies developed ingenious tools to bridge the gap between what they could see and what they sought to understand. One of the most remarkable of these instruments was the astrolabe, a device that became the Swiss Army knife of medieval astronomy. Originating in ancient Greece and later refined by Islamic scholars, the astrolabe allowed users to calculate the positions of stars and planets, measure time, and even determine latitude. It was a portable observatory, a tool that transformed the night sky into a measurable, navigable space. For astronomers like al-Biruni, who used it to calculate the Earth's circumference with astonishing accuracy, the astrolabe wasn't just a scientific instrument, it was a key to unlocking the mysteries of the cosmos. Another groundbreaking tool was the quadrant, a simple yet powerful device that measured angles between celestial objects and the horizon. Used extensively by Islamic astronomers, the quadrant made it possible to track the movement of stars and planets with precision, enabling the creation of detailed star charts and calendars. These charts weren't just academic exercises, they were practical tools for navigation, agriculture, and religious rituals. The quadrant's ability to turn the infinite expanse of the sky into measurable data marked a significant leap in humanity's ability to understand and interact with the universe. The armillary sphere, a complex model of the celestial sphere, took this a step further. With its interlocking rings representing the paths of the sun, moon, and planets, the armillary sphere was both a teaching tool and a scientific instrument. It allowed astronomers to visualize the movements of celestial bodies and predict their positions over time. For thinkers like Ptolemy, who used it to refine his geocentric model of the universe, the armillary sphere was a way to bring order to the chaos of the heavens. It wasn't just a representation of the cosmos, it was a tool for experimenting with it, for testing ideas and challenging assumptions. But the drive to measure the infinite wasn't limited to the stars. On Earth, ancient inventors tackled the unknown with equal creativity. Take, for example, the Chinese seismoscope, a device created during the Han Dynasty to detect earthquakes. This bronze vessel, adorned with dragon heads and toads, could sense tremors hundreds of miles away. When an earthquake occurred, a ball would drop from one of the dragon's mouths into the mouth of a toad below, indicating the direction of the quake. While the exact mechanism remains a mystery, the seismoscope stands as a testament to the ingenuity of early scientists in measuring forces that were invisible and unpredictable. These instruments weren't just tools, they were symbols of humanity's determination to conquer the unknown. Each one represented a step forward in the journey from observation to understanding, from speculation to science. They were born out of curiosity, crafted with care, and used to push the boundaries of what was possible. And while they may seem primitive by today's standards, their impact was profound. They laid the groundwork for the scientific revolution, a period when humanity's understanding of the universe would be transformed by new tools, new ideas, and a new willingness to question the unknown. What's remarkable about these early instruments is how they reflect the values and priorities of the societies that created them. The astrolabe and quadrant, for instance, reveal the importance of astronomy in Islamic culture, where the study of the heavens was seen as a way to honor the divine. The armillary sphere, with its intricate design, reflects the Greek fascination with order and symmetry in the cosmos, and the seismoscope, with its blend of art and science, highlights the Chinese emphasis on harmony between humanity and nature. Each tool tells a story, not just of scientific progress, but of the people who dreamed, built, and used them. As we look back at these early instruments, we're reminded of the power of curiosity and creativity. They show us that the infinite isn't something to fear, it's something to explore, to measure, and to understand. And in doing so, they set the stage for the discoveries that would follow, from the telescopes of Galileo to the particle accelerators of today. The tools may have changed, but the quest remains the same: to measure the immeasurable, to know the unknowable, and to find meaning in the infinite. And as we'll see next, this quest didn't just transform science, it reshaped the way we see ourselves and our place in the universe. Long before the written word became a common medium, storytellers and poets were the keepers of the infinite. Through their verses and tales, they painted vivid pictures of the boundless, using metaphor and allegory to make the unimaginable tangible. Take, for instance, the epic poetry of Homer. In the Iliad and the Odyssey, the vastness of the sea becomes a metaphor for both the infinite and the unknown. For Odysseus, the ocean is a realm of endless possibility and peril, a place where the boundaries of human experience are tested. The sea, with its shifting tides and uncharted depths, mirrors the journey of life itself, a journey that stretches beyond the horizon into the infinite. In the mystical poetry of Rumi, the infinite takes on a deeply spiritual dimension. His verses, filled with imagery of the sky and the cosmos, explore the idea of union with the divine, a state of being that transcends all limits. In one of his most famous lines, he writes, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." This metaphor captures the essence of the infinite, a reality so vast that it can only be understood through the lens of the finite. For Rumi, poetry wasn't just a form of expression. It was a bridge to the eternal, a way to connect the human soul with the limitless. The Sanskrit hymns of the Rig Veda, some of the oldest known texts, also grapple with the infinite. These ancient verses, composed over 3,000 years ago, celebrate the cosmic order and the boundless nature of creation. In one hymn, the universe is described as a wheel with 1,000 spokes, a metaphor for the infinite interconnectedness of all things. The Rig Veda doesn't just describe the cosmos, it invites the reader to participate in it, to see themselves as part of a larger, unending whole. Through its poetic language, the infinite becomes not just an idea but an experience. Greek tragedy offers yet another perspective on the infinite, often through the lens of fate and eternity. In plays like Oedipus Rex, the characters confront forces that seem beyond their control, forces that stretch across time and space, shaping their lives in ways they cannot fully comprehend. The chorus, a recurring feature in Greek tragedy, often reflects on these themes, reminding the audience of the eternal cycles of life and death. For the Greeks, tragedy wasn't just entertainment. It was a way to explore the limits of human understanding and the infinite nature of destiny. What ties all these literary works together is their reliance on oral traditions. Long before they were written down, these stories and poems were passed from generation to generation through spoken word. This oral transmission wasn't just a practical necessity, it was a way to preserve the power of the infinite. The rhythms of speech, the cadence of verse, and the interplay of sound and meaning all contributed to the emotional impact of these works, making the boundless feel immediate and alive. In this way, oral traditions didn't just preserve ideas about the infinite, they brought them to life, weaving them into the fabric of everyday experience. These early literary explorations of the infinite didn't exist in isolation. They laid the groundwork for later philosophical thought, inspiring thinkers to grapple with the same questions in new ways. The metaphors and allegories of Homer and Rumi, the cosmic hymns of the Rig Veda, and the tragic reflections of the Greeks all shaped the way we think about the infinite today. They remind us that literature isn't just a mirror of the human experience, it's a map, guiding us through the mysteries of existence and helping us find meaning in the boundless. And as we'll see next, these literary traditions didn't just influence philosophy, they shaped the way societies understood themselves and their place in the universe. Mathematics has always been humanity's most powerful tool for grappling with the infinite, and ancient civilizations used it in ways that still astonish us today. In China, the 9 chapters on the mathematical art, a foundational text dating back to the Han Dynasty, explored infinite series, a concept that would later become central to calculus. This text didn't just solve practical problems like measuring land or calculating taxes. It pushed the boundaries of what was mathematically possible. By breaking down complex shapes into smaller, infinite parts, Chinese mathematicians could approximate areas and volumes with remarkable precision. This approach wasn't just about numbers, it was a way to bridge the gap between the finite and the infinite, turning abstract ideas into practical solutions. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, the Maya were making their own groundbreaking contributions. While many ancient cultures struggled with the concept of zero, the Maya embraced it fully, using it as a placeholder in their sophisticated base 20 number system. This wasn't just a mathematical convenience, it was a philosophical leap. Zero represented the void, the absence of quantity, and by extension, the infinite potential of creation. In their long count calendar, which tracked vast cycles of time, zero marked the end of one era and the beginning of another, a cosmic reset that mirrored their belief in the cyclical nature of the universe. For the Maya, zero wasn't just a number, it was a symbol of infinity itself. In ancient Greece, mathematicians took a different approach. Eudoxus, a student of Plato, developed a method of ratios that allowed him to work with irrational numbers without ever explicitly invoking infinity. His technique, known as the method of exhaustion, involved approximating shapes with polygons, inching closer and closer to the true value without ever reaching it. This method laid the groundwork for calculus centuries later, showing that infinity could be approached indirectly through careful reasoning and logical steps. For Eudoxus, the infinite wasn't something to be confronted head-on. It was a challenge to be outsmarted, a puzzle to be solved through ingenuity. India's mathematical traditions took these ideas even further. Aryabhatta, a 5th-century mathematician and astronomer, explored infinite series in his work, using them to calculate the value of pi and describe planetary motion. His insights into infinite processes were centuries ahead of their time, blending abstract thought with practical applications. Aryabhatta didn't just see infinity as a mathematical curiosity, he saw it as a key to unlocking the mysteries of the cosmos. His work influenced generations of mathematicians, both in India and beyond, showing that the infinite wasn't just a theoretical concept, it was a tool for understanding the world. These mathematical breakthroughs didn't exist in isolation. They were deeply connected to the practical needs of their time. In China, the methods from the 9 chapters were used to design irrigation systems and build monumental architecture. The Mayas' mastery of zero and their calendar system helped them plan agricultural cycles and religious ceremonies with unparalleled precision. Eudoxus' method of ratios influenced Greek engineering, enabling the construction of everything from aqueducts to amphitheaters. And Aryabhatta's work on infinite series advanced Indian astronomy, helping to predict eclipses and chart the movements of the stars. What ties all these mathematical traditions together is their ability to balance the abstract with the practical. Whether it was breaking down shapes into infinite parts, embracing the concept of zero, or approximating the infinite through ratios, these ancient thinkers showed that mathematics wasn't just about solving equations, it was about exploring the boundaries of human understanding. By tackling the infinite, they didn't just push the limits of what was possible, they laid the foundation for the scientific and technological advancements that would follow. And as we'll see next, these mathematical ideas didn't just stay on paper, they shaped the way societies built, governed, and imagined their place in the universe. The infinite wasn't just a concept for philosophers and mathematicians, it also found its way into the realm of medicine and healing, where early practitioners sought to understand the mysteries of life, death, and the forces that sustain us. For ancient healers, the infinite was woven into the very fabric of existence, shaping how they approached illness, wellness, and the journey of the soul. Take, for instance, the ancient Egyptians, who believed that life extended far beyond the physical body. They saw death not as an end but as a transition to an eternal realm, where the soul embarked on an infinite journey through the afterlife. This belief profoundly influenced their medical practices, which often combined physical treatments with spiritual rituals. Healing wasn't just about curing the body, it was about restoring harmony between the mortal and the eternal. In India, the ancient system of Ayurveda took a holistic approach to the infinite, viewing health as a balance between the body, mind, and the universal life force known as prana. Prana, much like the Chinese concept of Kai, was seen as an infinite energy that flowed through all living things, connecting the individual to the cosmos. Ayurvedic practitioners used herbs, meditation, and yoga to align this energy, believing that illness arose when the flow of prana was disrupted. By restoring this balance, they aimed not just to heal the body, but to reconnect the individual with the infinite source of life itself. This approach to medicine wasn't just practical, it was deeply spiritual, reflecting a worldview in which the finite and the infinite were inextricably linked. The Greeks, too, saw the infinite as central to healing, though they approached it from a different angle. At the sanctuary of Asclepius, the god of medicine, patients sought cures through dreams and divine intervention. They believed that the infinite wisdom of the gods could reveal the root of their ailments, offering guidance that no mortal healer could provide. This blend of medicine and mysticism shows how the Greeks saw health as a partnership between the human and the divine, a collaboration that spanned the finite and the infinite. In China, the concept of Qi, a vital energy that flows through the body, was central to traditional medicine. Practitioners of acupuncture and herbal medicine sought to regulate this infinite life force, believing that blockages or imbalances in Qi were the root cause of disease. Techniques like Tai Chi and Qigong were developed to cultivate and harmonize Qi, creating a seamless connection between the individual and the universe. For the Chinese, health wasn't just about the body. It was about maintaining a relationship with the infinite energy that sustained all life. Divination and prophecy also played a role in understanding the unknown, offering glimpses into the infinite through rituals and oracles. The Oracle of Delphi, perhaps the most famous of these, was believed to channel the infinite wisdom of the god Apollo. Those who sought her guidance often came with questions about their health, seeking answers that lay beyond the reach of ordinary knowledge. The oracle's cryptic pronouncements were seen as a bridge between the mortal and the divine, a way to tap into the infinite to navigate the uncertainties of life. These ancient practices reveal a common thread, the belief that the infinite was not just an abstract idea but a living force that could be harnessed for healing and understanding. Whether through the eternal journey of the soul in Egypt, the flow of prana in India, the divine wisdom of the Greeks, or the cultivation of Qi in China, early healers saw the infinite as both a source of mystery and a key to unlocking the secrets of life and death. Their approaches remind us that the quest to understand the infinite has always been deeply personal, shaping not just how we see the world but how we care for ourselves and each other. These connections between the infinite and healing didn't just influence medicine, they shaped the way societies understood their place in the cosmos, creating a tapestry of beliefs and practices that continue to resonate today. As we'll see next, this interplay between the finite and the infinite extended far beyond the realm of health, shaping the very foundations of early civilizations. Ancient cosmologies often sought to explain the origins of the universe, blending myth, science, and spirituality into a single, cohesive narrative. For the Greeks, the cosmos was a realm of order and harmony, encapsulated in the concept of the celestial spheres. They imagined the Earth at the center, surrounded by concentric spheres that carried the moon, sun, planets, and stars. Beyond these lay the primum mobile, the outermost sphere that set the entire system in motion. This model wasn't just a scientific theory, it was a reflection of their belief in a universe governed by divine perfection. The infinite in this context was the boundless space beyond the spheres, a realm that both fascinated and eluded human understanding. In stark contrast to the Greek structured cosmos, the Hindu tradition envisioned an infinite and ever-expanding universe. Ancient texts like the Puranas describe a multiverse where countless worlds exist simultaneously, each with its own cycle of creation and destruction. The universe itself was seen as a manifestation of Brahma, the infinite and eternal reality that transcends time and space. This cosmology wasn't just about the physical world. It was a spiritual framework that connected the finite existence of individuals to the infinite nature of the divine. For Hindus, the infinite wasn't a distant abstraction. It was a living, breathing reality that permeated every aspect of life. The Babylonians, too, had their own unique take on the infinite. In the Enuma Elish, their creation myth, the universe began as a chaotic, watery void inhabited by the primordial gods. Through a cosmic battle, the god Marduk defeated the chaos monster Tiamat, using her body to fashion the heavens and the earth. This story wasn't just a tale of creation. It was a way to explain the origins of order from chaos, the finite from the infinite. The Babylonians saw the universe as a dynamic interplay between these forces, a balance that mirrored their own understanding of life and divinity. Norse mythology offers another striking example of how early cosmologies grappled with the infinite. According to their creation story, the world was born from the body of Ymir, a primordial giant. His flesh became the earth, his blood the seas, and his bones the mountains. The heavens were crafted from his skull, held aloft by 4 dwarves named after the cardinal directions. This vivid imagery wasn't just poetic, it was a way to make sense of the infinite through the tangible. For the Norse, the infinite wasn't an abstract concept, it was something they could see, touch, and even walk upon. What's fascinating about these cosmologies is how they blend myth and science to explain the unknown. The Greeks used geometry and observation to map the heavens, while the Hindus employed philosophy and meditation to explore the infinite. The Babylonians and Norse, on the other hand, turned to storytelling, using vivid imagery to convey complex ideas about creation and existence. Each approach reflects a deep desire to understand the universe, not just as a physical space but as a source of meaning and connection. These early cosmologies didn't just stay in the realm of myth, they influenced later scientific thought in profound ways. The Greek concept of the celestial spheres, for instance, shaped astronomical models for centuries, even as new discoveries challenged its accuracy. The Hindu idea of a multiverse resonates with modern theories in physics, suggesting that our universe might be just one of many. And the Norse and Babylonian myths, with their emphasis on balance and transformation, remind us that the infinite is as much about process as it is about space. By exploring these ancient cosmologies, we see how early societies used myth, science, and spirituality to grapple with the infinite. Their stories weren't just attempts to explain the cosmos, they were ways to find meaning in the boundless, to connect the finite with the eternal. And in doing so, they laid the groundwork for the scientific and philosophical explorations that would follow, proving that the quest to understand the infinite is as old as humanity itself. As we delve deeper, we'll see how these ideas didn't just shape the past, they continue to inspire our understanding of the universe today. Rituals and ceremonies have always been humanity's way of reaching beyond the finite, of touching the infinite, even if just for a moment. Across cultures, these practices weren't just performances, they were profound acts of connection, linking individuals and communities to something greater than themselves. Take, for instance, the Egyptian opening of the mouth ceremony. This sacred ritual, performed on statues of the deceased or on mummies themselves, was believed to restore the senses and prepare the soul for its journey into the afterlife. Through chants, offerings, and symbolic gestures, the living sought to bridge the gap between the mortal world and the eternal. For the Egyptians, this ceremony wasn't just about honoring the dead. It was about affirming the infinite nature of existence, a reminder that death was not an end but a passage. Music and dance, too, have long been vehicles for evoking the infinite. In the Sufi tradition, the whirling dervishes used their spinning movements to symbolize the orbits of the planets and the eternal cycle of creation. As they turn, their flowing robes blur the boundaries between the earthly and the divine, creating a visual metaphor for the infinite. The music that accompanies their dance, with its repetitive rhythms and haunting melodies, further enhances this connection, drawing both the dancers and the audience into a state of spiritual transcendence. For the Sufis, this practice isn't just an artistic expression, it's a way to dissolve the self and merge with the boundless. Sacred spaces also played a crucial role in these rituals, serving as physical conduits to the infinite. Stonehenge, with its massive stones aligned to the solstices, was more than just a calendar. It was a place where ancient Britons gathered to mark the turning of the seasons and commune with the divine. The precise alignment of the stones with celestial events suggests a deep understanding of the cosmos, as well as a desire to connect with its rhythms. Similarly, the pyramids of Egypt were not just tombs, they were gateways to the afterlife, designed to guide the pharaoh's soul to the stars. These structures weren't just monuments, they were bridges between the earthly and the eternal. In Mesoamerica, the Aztec ball game, or Tlachtli, was a ritual that symbolized the cosmic struggle between light and darkness, life and death. Played on a court that represented the universe, the game was a reenactment of the mythic battle between the sun god and the forces of darkness. The ball itself symbolized the sun, and its movement across the court mirrored the sun's journey through the sky. For the Aztecs, this game wasn't just entertainment, it was a sacred act, a way to ensure the sun's continued movement and the survival of the world. The stakes were high. In some versions of the game, the losing team was sacrificed, their blood offered to the gods to maintain the cosmic balance. This brutal yet deeply symbolic ritual highlights how early societies saw themselves as active participants in the infinite cycles of creation and destruction. What ties all these rituals together is their ability to make the infinite tangible. Whether through the chants of the opening of the mouth ceremony, the spinning of the dervishes, the alignment of Stonehenge, or the symbolism of the Aztec ball game, these practices transformed abstract concepts into lived experiences. They allowed people to touch the infinite, to feel its presence in their lives, and to find meaning in the face of the unknown. These rituals weren't just about the afterlife or the cosmos. They were about the here and now, about creating a sense of connection and purpose in a world that could often feel overwhelming. By exploring these ancient ceremonies, we see how early societies used ritual to navigate the infinite. They didn't just ponder the mysteries of existence, they actively engaged with them, using music, dance, architecture, and even sport to bridge the gap between the finite and the eternal. These practices remind us that the infinite isn't just something to be studied or debated, it's something to be felt, experienced, and celebrated. And as we'll see next, this connection to the infinite didn't just shape rituals, it shaped entire cultures, influencing art, governance, and the very way people understood their place in the universe. The concept of the infinite didn't just shape art, philosophy, and religion, it also played a pivotal role in the world of trade and commerce. For early societies, trade wasn't just about exchanging goods. It was about connecting distant worlds, bridging the known and the unknown, and expanding the boundaries of human experience. Take the Silk Road, for instance, a sprawling network of trade routes that stretched from China to the Mediterranean. This wasn't just a path for caravans, it was a lifeline that carried ideas, cultures, and innovations across vast distances. The Silk Road wasn't a single road but a web of endless possibilities, a tangible expression of the infinite in the form of connection and exchange. The Phoenicians, master sailors of the ancient Mediterranean, took this idea even further. Their voyages carried them to the edges of the known world, from the coasts of North Africa to the shores of Britain. For them, the sea wasn't a barrier. It was a gateway to the infinite, a space where the familiar gave way to the exotic. Their ships, laden with goods like purple dye, glass, and cedar wood, became symbols of exploration and discovery. Each voyage pushed the boundaries of what was possible, transforming the Mediterranean into a bustling hub of trade and cultural exchange. The Phoenicians didn't just trade goods, they traded stories, technologies, and worldviews, weaving together a tapestry of human connection that spanned the infinite. Currency, too, played a crucial role in this expansion of horizons. In ancient Mesopotamia, the use of standardized weights and measures allowed traders to conduct business across vast distances, creating a system of trust and reliability that transcended language and culture. The invention of coinage in ancient Lydia took this a step further, providing a portable and universally accepted medium of exchange. These early currencies weren't just tools for trade, they were symbols of connection, tangible representations of the infinite networks that linked distant societies. A coin minted in Athens could find its way to the markets of India, carrying with it the promise of endless possibility. Trade goods themselves often carried deep symbolic meaning, representing the allure of the unknown. Spices like cinnamon and pepper, which traveled from the distant lands of India and Southeast Asia, weren't just culinary luxuries, they were symbols of the exotic and the infinite. Similarly, silk, with its shimmering beauty and mysterious origins, became a metaphor for the boundless. For the Romans, who prized silk as a status symbol, it wasn't just a fabric, it was a connection to a world beyond their own, a reminder that the infinite was always within reach. The Roman roads, another marvel of ancient engineering, embodied this idea of the infinite in a physical sense. Stretching across the empire like arteries, these roads connected cities, provinces, and peoples, creating a network that seemed to stretch endlessly into the horizon. For the Romans, the roads weren't just practical infrastructure, they were symbols of their ambition to unite the known world under a single, infinite order. Travelers on these roads could journey from the bustling markets of Rome to the distant frontiers of Britain, experiencing the vastness of the empire firsthand. The roads were more than pathways, they were a testament to humanity's ability to conquer distance and connect the finite with the infinite. As trade expanded, so too did the known world, challenging existing notions of the infinite. The stories brought back by traders of distant lands, strange customs, and unimaginable riches opened minds to new possibilities, reshaping how people saw themselves and their place in the universe. The infinite was no longer just a philosophical concept or a spiritual ideal. It was a lived reality, something that could be explored, measured, and even traded. Through commerce, early societies didn't just exchange goods. They exchanged ideas about the infinite, creating a shared understanding that transcended borders and cultures. This interplay between trade and the infinite didn't just shape economies, it shaped civilizations. The Silk Road, the Phoenician voyages, the Roman roads, they all remind us that the quest to understand the infinite isn't just about looking to the stars or pondering the mysteries of existence. It's about the connections we forge, the journeys we take, and the ways we reach beyond our own horizons to touch something greater. And as we'll see next, this drive to explore and connect didn't just shape trade, it laid the foundation for the scientific and cultural advancements that would follow, proving that the infinite is as much about human ingenuity as it is about the cosmos. The pursuit of the infinite wasn't confined to philosophy, art, or trade. It also fueled the ambitions of empires and warriors, shaping the course of early warfare and conquest. For many ancient leaders, the infinite represented not just a concept but a goal, endless expansion, eternal glory, and the promise of immortality through deeds. The Mongol Empire, for instance, embodied this relentless drive. Under leaders like Genghis Khan, the Mongols swept across the infinite steppes of Central Asia, creating an empire that stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the gates of Europe. Their conquests weren't just about land, they were about redefining the boundaries of the known world, pushing the limits of what was possible. But how did early societies harness the infinite in their quest for dominance? One key factor was technology. The introduction of the chariot, for example, revolutionized warfare in the ancient Near East. These swift, horse-drawn vehicles allowed armies to cover vast distances with unprecedented speed, transforming the battlefield into a place where the infinite seemed within reach. The Hittites, known for their mastery of chariot warfare, used this technology to build an empire that rivaled Egypt and Babylon. The chariot wasn't just a weapon, it was a symbol of power and mobility, a tool that turned the infinite expanse of the battlefield into a space that could be controlled and conquered. Siege engines, too, played a crucial role in expanding empires. The Assyrians, famed for their military ingenuity, developed battering rams, siege towers, and other machines that allowed them to breach even the most fortified cities. These technologies weren't just about destruction, they were about overcoming the seemingly infinite barriers that stood in the way of conquest. The Assyrian Empire, built through relentless campaigns and technological innovation, became a testament to humanity's ability to turn the infinite into the achievable. Yet warfare wasn't just about strategy and machines, it was also deeply symbolic. The Roman triumph, for instance, was a grand spectacle that celebrated the eternal glory of military victory. A victorious general paraded through the streets of Rome was hailed as a living god, his achievements immortalized in art and legend. This ritual wasn't just about honoring the conqueror, it was about connecting the finite achievements of mortal men to the infinite legacy of the empire. For the Romans, conquest was more than a military act, it was a way to touch the eternal. The Persian Empire, too, understood the symbolic power of the infinite. The Royal Road, stretching over 1,600 miles from Susa to Sardis, was more than a highway. It was a physical manifestation of the empire's boundless reach. Couriers could travel this vast network in just 7 days, carrying messages and orders that kept the empire connected. The Royal Road wasn't just a feat of engineering, it was a symbol of the infinite ambition of Persian kings who saw their rule as extending far beyond the horizon. These examples reveal a common thread. The infinite wasn't just a backdrop for early warfare, it was a driving force. Empires like the Mongols, Romans, and Persians didn't just conquer land, they sought to conquer time itself, leaving behind legacies that would endure long after their rulers were gone. Their achievements remind us that the quest to understand the infinite is as much about ambition and action as it is about contemplation. Through warfare and conquest, early societies didn't just expand their territories, they expanded their understanding of what it means to be human, pushing the boundaries of the possible and redefining the limits of the known. As we've seen, the infinite has shaped every aspect of human history, from the stars above to the battlefields below. But how did these early conquests and achievements influence the way we think about the infinite today? The answer lies in the interplay between ambition and imagination, as the next chapter of our journey will reveal. The natural world has always been a source of wonder and mystery, a realm where the infinite reveals itself in endless cycles and boundless diversity. For early philosophers, nature wasn't just a backdrop, it was a living, breathing expression of the infinite, a place where the eternal and the ephemeral intertwined. Take Heraclitus, the ancient Greek thinker who famously declared, "No man ever steps in the same river twice." For him, the river wasn't just water flowing, it was a metaphor for eternal flux, a reminder that change is the only constant in a universe that is endlessly transforming. This idea of perpetual motion, of a world in constant renewal, became a cornerstone of early philosophy, shaping how thinkers understood the infinite in nature. In contrast to Heraclitus' focus on change, the Taoist philosophers of ancient China saw the infinite in the natural order itself. The Tao, often translated as the Way, was the underlying rhythm of the universe, an infinite force that flowed through all things. Taoist texts like the Tao Te Ching describe the natural world as a manifestation of this eternal order, where mountains, rivers, and forests exist in perfect harmony. For Taoists, the infinite wasn't something to be measured or conquered. It was something to be aligned with, a principle that guided everything from the growth of a tree to the movement of the stars. This perspective emphasized observation and intuition, inviting individuals to see themselves as part of a larger, infinite whole. Aristotle, one of the most influential thinkers in Western history, took a more systematic approach to understanding the infinite in nature. While he believed the universe was finite, he saw infinity in the processes that sustained it. For Aristotle, natural phenomena like the water cycle, where rain falls, rivers flow, and water evaporates, were examples of infinite cycles that maintain the balance of the world. He also explored the concept of potential infinity, the idea that certain processes, like the division of matter, could continue endlessly without ever reaching a final state. This nuanced view of the infinite allowed Aristotle to bridge the gap between observation and theory, laying the groundwork for later scientific inquiry. The Greeks also saw the infinite reflected in the diversity of the natural world, symbolized by the concept of the four elements: earth, water, air, and fire. These elements weren't just substances, they were principles representing the infinite variety of matter and the forces that shaped it. Earth was solid and enduring, water fluid and life-giving, air light and expansive, fire transformative and destructive. Together, they formed a dynamic system that mirrored the complexity of the universe, offering a framework for understanding everything from the growth of plants to the movement of the stars. This elemental theory wasn't just a scientific model, it was a way to make the infinite tangible, to see the boundless diversity of nature in the everyday. The symbolic significance of natural phenomena also played a key role in how early societies understood the infinite. The endless cycles of the seasons, for instance, became a powerful metaphor for renewal and continuity. In many cultures, the changing of the seasons was marked by rituals and festivals that celebrated the infinite rhythms of life. The ancient Celts, for example, observed the solstices and equinoxes as moments of cosmic balance, when the infinite order of the universe was most evident. These celebrations weren't just about marking time, they were about connecting with the eternal, finding meaning in the cycles that governed both nature and human life. These early philosophical explorations of the infinite in nature didn't exist in isolation, they profoundly influenced later scientific thought. The Greek emphasis on observation and theory, the Taoist focus on harmony and balance, and the symbolic interpretations of natural cycles all laid the groundwork for the scientific revolution. Thinkers like Galileo and Newton built on these ideas, using the tools of mathematics and experimentation to explore the infinite in new ways. The concept of the four elements, for instance, evolved into the modern understanding of chemical elements, while Aristotle's ideas about potential infinity influenced the development of calculus and physics. By examining how early philosophers understood the infinite in nature, we see a common thread: the belief that the natural world is a reflection of something greater, a source of both mystery and meaning. Whether through the eternal flux of Heraclitus, the natural order of the Tao, or the elemental diversity of the Greeks, these thinkers sought to make sense of the infinite, transforming it from an abstract idea into a lived reality. Their insights remind us that the quest to understand the infinite is as much about curiosity and wonder as it is about science and philosophy. And as we'll see next, these ideas didn't just shape the past, they continue to inspire our understanding of the universe today. Music has always been one of humanity's most powerful tools for reaching beyond the finite, a universal language that transcends time and space. For early societies, sound wasn't just a form of expression. It was a way to evoke the infinite, to connect with the cosmos, and to touch something greater than themselves. Take the Vedic hymns of ancient India, for example. These sacred chants, passed down orally for thousands of years, were believed to carry the vibrations of the universe itself. Each syllable, each note, was thought to resonate with the infinite, creating a bridge between the human and the divine. The Rig Veda, one of the oldest known texts, describes sound as the very essence of creation, a force that brings order to chaos and life to the void. For the ancient Indians, music wasn't just art. It was a spiritual practice, a way to align with the infinite rhythms of existence. Across the globe, the rhythmic drumming of African tribes served a similar purpose. In many cultures, drums were more than instruments. They were conduits to the infinite, their beats echoing the heartbeat of the earth and the pulse of the cosmos. The Yoruba people of West Africa, for instance, used drums in ceremonies to summon the spirits of their ancestors, believing that the rhythms could transcend time and space. Each drum pattern carried meaning, telling stories of creation, life, and the eternal cycle of death and rebirth. For these communities, music wasn't just a performance, it was a dialogue with the infinite, a way to commune with forces that lay beyond the visible world. Harmony and resonance played a central role in these musical traditions, often seen as a way to mirror the order of the cosmos. The ancient Greeks, for example, believed that the universe itself was governed by musical ratios, a concept known as the harmony of the spheres. Pythagoras, the mathematician and philosopher, discovered that musical intervals could be expressed mathematically, revealing a hidden order in the seemingly chaotic world of sound. This idea that music could reveal the underlying structure of the universe profoundly influenced Western thought, linking the finite world of human experience to the infinite mysteries of the cosmos. The lyre, a stringed instrument often associated with the gods, became a symbol of this connection, its strings vibrating in harmony with the celestial order. Instruments themselves often carried deep symbolic significance, representing the infinite in their design and sound. The didgeridoo, an ancient wind instrument of the Aboriginal peoples of Australia, is a striking example. Its deep, resonant tones are said to mimic the sounds of the natural world, the wind, the earth, the call of animals, while also evoking the timelessness of the dreamtime, the Aboriginal concept of the infinite. Playing the didgeridoo isn't just about creating music, it's about entering a meditative state where the boundaries between the self and the infinite dissolve. For the Aboriginals, this instrument wasn't just a tool, it was a portal to the eternal. In medieval Europe, the Gregorian chants of the Catholic Church aimed to transcend the finite world altogether. These monophonic melodies, sung in unison by monastic choirs, were designed to lift the soul toward the divine. The lack of harmony and rhythm, far from being a limitation, was intentional, a way to strip away the distractions of the material world and focus on the infinite. The chants, with their haunting beauty and simplicity, were believed to carry the prayers of the faithful directly to heaven, creating a direct line to the eternal. For the monks who sang them, music wasn't just an act of worship. It was a way to touch the infinite, to step beyond the confines of earthly existence. These musical traditions, though diverse in form and function, share a common thread, the belief that sound can connect us to the infinite. Whether through the sacred chants of the Vedas, the rhythmic drumming of Africa, the harmonic principles of the Greeks, or the meditative tones of the didgeridoo, early societies used music to explore the boundless and the eternal. These practices remind us that the infinite isn't just something to be studied or debated, it's something to be felt, experienced, and celebrated. Through music, they found a way to make the infinite tangible, to bring it into the realm of human experience, and to create a legacy that continues to resonate today. As we move forward, we'll see how these musical traditions didn't just shape art and spirituality. They influenced the way societies understood themselves and their place in the universe, weaving the infinite into the very fabric of human culture. For early agricultural societies, the infinite wasn't just a philosophical concept, it was a lived reality, woven into the very fabric of daily life. The cycles of planting and harvesting, the rhythm of the seasons, and the fertility of the earth all reflected a world that was endlessly renewing itself. In ancient Egypt, the annual flooding of the Nile brought rich silt to the fields, creating a fertile landscape that seemed to promise infinite abundance. Wheat, the staple crop of Egypt, wasn't just a source of sustenance, it was a symbol of life's endless renewal. The Egyptians saw the growth of wheat as a metaphor for the eternal cycle of death and rebirth, a reminder that even in the face of scarcity, the earth would always provide. This belief in the infinite fertility of the land shaped their agricultural practices, from the precise timing of planting to the communal labor of harvesting. Across the ocean, the Maya cultivated maize with a similar reverence. For them, maize wasn't just a crop, it was a sacred gift from the gods, a symbol of creation itself. According to Mayan mythology, humans were fashioned from maize, making it the very essence of life. The endless cycles of planting and harvesting maize became a spiritual practice, a way to honor the gods and ensure the continuation of the world. The Mayas' intricate knowledge of agriculture, passed down through generations, allowed them to sustain their civilization for centuries. Their fields, carefully tended and blessed with rituals, were a testament to their belief in the infinite potential of the earth. In the Andes, the Inca took this idea of infinite fertility to new heights literally. Their terraced fields, carved into the steep slopes of the mountains, transformed barren land into productive farmland. These terraces weren't just a feat of engineering, they were a reflection of the Incas' deep connection to the earth. By creating flat, fertile fields on the mountainsides, they could grow crops like potatoes and quinoa at different altitudes, maximizing the land's potential. The terraces also served as a symbol of harmony between humanity and nature, a way to work with the land rather than against it. For the Inca, agriculture wasn't just about survival, it was about sustaining the infinite cycles of life. In China, rice paddies became a powerful symbol of the Earth's infinite fertility. The intricate system of irrigation and water management required to grow rice reflected a deep understanding of natural cycles. Farmers carefully controlled the flow of water through their fields, creating a landscape of shimmering paddies that seemed to stretch endlessly into the horizon. Rice wasn't just a crop, it was a way of life, shaping everything from diet to social structure. The labor-intensive process of growing rice fostered a sense of community and interdependence as families worked together to tend the fields. The endless rows of rice plants swaying in the breeze became a living reminder of the Earth's boundless capacity to sustain life. But agriculture wasn't just about practical survival, it was also deeply symbolic. In many cultures, crops were seen as gifts from the gods, their growth a sign of divine favor. The act of planting seeds, nurturing them, and harvesting the fruits of the earth became a way to connect with the infinite, to participate in the eternal cycles of creation. Festivals and rituals often marked the agricultural calendar, celebrating the turning of the seasons and the promise of renewal. These celebrations weren't just about giving thanks, they were about reaffirming humanity's place in the cosmos, a way to honor the infinite forces that sustained life. The relationship between early societies and the land also shaped their values and beliefs. The need to manage water, rotate crops, and preserve the soil required cooperation and foresight, fostering a sense of stewardship and responsibility. In many ways, agriculture became a metaphor for the infinite itself, a reminder that life is a cycle, that what we sow, we reap, and that the earth, if cared for, will provide endlessly. These principles didn't just shape farming practices, they influenced everything from governance to spirituality, creating a worldview that saw humanity as part of a larger, infinite whole. As we reflect on these early agricultural practices, we see how the infinite was not just an abstract idea, but a guiding force in the lives of these societies. Through their connection to the land, they found a way to measure the immeasurable, to touch the eternal, and to create a legacy that continues to inspire us today. And as we turn to the next chapter of our journey, we'll explore how these agricultural innovations didn't just shape the land. They shaped the very fabric of human culture, influencing art, religion, and the way we understand our place in the universe. Long before the invention of printing presses or digital archives, early societies found ingenious ways to preserve and pass down knowledge of the infinite. From the whispered teachings of oral traditions to the meticulously crafted scrolls of ancient libraries, the transmission of knowledge became a bridge between generations, a way to keep the boundless wisdom of the cosmos alive. Take the Druids, for example. These Celtic priests and scholars were the keepers of sacred knowledge, passing down their understanding of the natural world and the infinite through oral traditions. They believed that spoken words carried a power that written ones could not, a resonance that connected the listener to the eternal. Through poetry, song, and ritual, the Druids wove the infinite into the fabric of daily life, ensuring that their teachings were not just learned but felt. In stark contrast to the oral traditions of the Druids, ancient China developed one of the earliest systems of written scholarship. The Chinese scholar bureaucrats or literati were not just administrators, they were guardians of knowledge. Texts like the I Ching and the Tao Te Ching explored the infinite through philosophy and cosmology, offering insights into the eternal rhythms of nature and the universe. These texts were meticulously copied and preserved, often by hand, ensuring that the wisdom of the infinite could be passed down through the ages. The imperial examination system, which tested candidates on their knowledge of these texts, further reinforced the importance of education as a means to understand and engage with the infinite. For the Chinese, the written word wasn't just a record, it was a vessel for the eternal. Schools and academies also played a pivotal role in shaping early understandings of the infinite. In ancient Greece, institutions like Plato's Academy and Aristotle's Lyceum became hubs of intellectual exploration, where students and scholars debated the nature of existence, the cosmos, and the boundless. These schools weren't just places of learning, they were incubators of ideas where the infinite was not just studied but lived. The Socratic method, with its emphasis on questioning and dialogue, encouraged students to grapple with concepts that defied easy answers, pushing the boundaries of what was known and what could be imagined. Perhaps no institution embodies the quest to capture the infinite more than the Library of Alexandria. Founded in the 3rd century BCE, this legendary library aimed to collect all the world's knowledge under one roof. Its shelves, filled with scrolls from every corner of the known world, represented humanity's attempt to contain the infinite wisdom of the ages. Scholars from diverse backgrounds gathered here to study, debate, and expand the frontiers of knowledge. The library wasn't just a repository of texts, it was a symbol of the human desire to understand the infinite, a beacon of learning that shone across centuries. In the East, Buddhist monasteries took a different approach to preserving knowledge of the infinite. These spiritual centers served as both places of worship and learning, where monks meticulously copied sacred texts by hand. These texts, often written on palm leaves or silk, explored the infinite nature of reality, offering insights into the cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. The monasteries also served as libraries, safeguarding not just religious teachings but also scientific and philosophical works. For the monks, the act of copying texts was a form of meditation, a way to connect with the infinite wisdom they sought to preserve. These early educational practices reveal a common thread, the belief that knowledge of the infinite is not just a personal pursuit but a communal responsibility. Whether through the spoken word, the written text, or the hallowed halls of a library, early societies found ways to ensure that the wisdom of the infinite would endure. These traditions remind us that the quest to understand the boundless is not just an intellectual exercise. It's a shared journey, one that connects us to the past, the present, and the infinite possibilities of the future. As we move forward, we'll see how these educational foundations didn't just shape the way people learned. They shaped the way they lived, creating a legacy that continues to inspire us today. The idea of the infinite didn't just shape art, philosophy, and agriculture, it also became the foundation for how early societies organized themselves. From the eternal rule of pharaohs in Egypt to the cyclical rise and fall of dynasties in China, the concept of the infinite was woven into the very fabric of governance and social order. For these civilizations, rulers weren't just leaders, they were living symbols of the eternal. tasked with maintaining harmony between the finite world of humans and the infinite forces of the cosmos. In ancient Egypt, the pharaoh was seen as a divine intermediary, a bridge between the mortal realm and the eternal gods. The pharaoh's role wasn't just to govern, it was to uphold Maat, the cosmic order that balanced chaos and harmony. This idea of eternal order was reflected in the pyramids, which weren't just tombs but monuments to the pharaoh's infinite journey into the afterlife. The grandeur of these structures wasn't just about power, it was a statement of continuity, a way to project the ruler's authority across the ages. Even the pharaoh's name, inscribed in hieroglyphs, was believed to carry a piece of eternity, ensuring their legacy would endure long after their reign. Moving eastward, the Chinese emperors embodied a similar connection to the infinite. Known as the Son of Heaven, the emperor was seen as a conduit between the earthly realm and the celestial order. The mandate of heaven, a central concept in Chinese governance, held that the emperor's right to rule was granted by the infinite heavens themselves. If the emperor failed to maintain harmony through natural disasters, famine, or unrest, it was seen as a sign that the mandate had been withdrawn, leading to the rise of a new dynasty. This cyclical view of governance reflected a broader understanding of the infinite as something both eternal and ever-changing, a force that could be harnessed but never fully controlled. The Roman Republic, on the other hand, sought to create an enduring system that could outlast any single ruler. The Senate, with its complex checks and balances, was designed to prevent the concentration of power in one individual, aiming instead for a collective governance that could stand the test of time. The Romans believed that their republic was eternal, a model of stability in a world of infinite uncertainties. Even as the republic gave way to the empire, the idea of Rome as an eternal city persisted, with emperors like Augustus presenting themselves as the guardians of an unending legacy. The Roman legal system, too, reflected this emphasis on continuity, with laws designed to adapt to changing times while maintaining a connection to the infinite wisdom of the past. These early systems of governance weren't just about maintaining order, they were about creating a sense of permanence in a world that was anything but. Laws, rituals, and symbols all played a role in reinforcing the connection between the finite and the infinite. In Mesopotamia, the Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest known legal codes, was inscribed on a massive stone stele, a physical representation of the ruler's divine authority and the timeless nature of justice. The laws themselves were seen as reflections of cosmic order, a way to align human behavior with the infinite principles that govern the universe. The symbolic significance of rulers extended beyond their governance. In many cultures, rulers were seen as living embodiments of the infinite, their actions and decisions carrying cosmic weight. The Aztec emperor, for instance, was considered a representative of the sun god Huitzilopochtli, tasked with ensuring the sun's continued journey across the sky. Rituals like human sacrifice, while shocking to modern sensibilities, were seen as essential to maintaining the infinite cycles of creation and destruction. Similarly, the divine kingship of the Khmer Empire in Southeast Asia was expressed through massive temple complexes like Angkor Wat, which served as both a spiritual center and a physical representation of the ruler's eternal authority. These early social structures and systems of governance reveal a profound truth. The infinite wasn't just an abstract idea, it was a practical framework for understanding and organizing the world. By aligning their societies with the eternal, early leaders sought to create stability in the face of uncertainty, to find meaning in the boundless, and to leave a legacy that would endure long after their time. These ideas didn't just shape the way people were governed, they shaped the way they saw themselves, their rulers, and their place in the cosmos. As we'll see next, this interplay between the finite and the infinite didn't just influence governance. It became a cornerstone of cultural identity, influencing everything from art and architecture to religion and philosophy. The wheel, one of humanity's earliest and most transformative inventions, didn't just revolutionize transportation, it opened up a world of infinite possibilities. Before its invention, moving heavy objects or traveling long distances was a monumental challenge. But with the wheel, early societies could transport goods, build structures, and connect distant communities in ways that were previously unimaginable. The wheel wasn't just a tool, it was a symbol of motion, progress, and the endless potential of human creativity. For the Mesopotamians, who are often credited with its invention, the wheel became a cornerstone of their civilization, enabling the construction of chariots, carts, and even pottery wheels. Each rotation of the wheel seemed to echo the infinite cycles of nature, from the turning of the seasons to the movement of the stars. Writing, another groundbreaking innovation, took this exploration of the infinite even further. By developing systems to record language, early societies could preserve knowledge, share stories, and communicate across time and space. The Sumerians' cuneiform script, etched into clay tablets, allowed them to document everything from trade transactions to epic myths. Writing became a way to capture the infinite, not just in the sense of endless information, but as a means to immortalize ideas, emotions, and experiences. The Egyptians took this a step further with hieroglyphs, which combined writing with art to create a visual language that felt almost boundless in its expressive power. Writing wasn't just about communication, it was about creating a bridge between the finite and the eternal, a way to ensure that the wisdom of one generation could inspire the next. But innovation didn't stop at the wheel or writing. Early societies also looked to the seas, using ships to push the boundaries of the known world. The Phoenicians, master sailors of the ancient Mediterranean, built vessels that could navigate vast distances, opening up trade routes that linked distant cultures. Their ships weren't just tools for exploration, they were symbols of humanity's desire to reach beyond the horizon, to explore the infinite expanse of the ocean. The Polynesians, too, used their knowledge of the stars and currents to navigate the Pacific, turning the seemingly endless ocean into a map that connected islands and peoples. For these early sailors, the sea wasn't a barrier, it was a pathway to the infinite, a place where the unknown became the known. Closer to home, tools like the plow and the compass became symbols of humanity's ability to shape the infinite. The plow, which transformed agriculture by making it easier to cultivate large areas of land, represented the infinite potential of human ingenuity to harness nature's abundance. It wasn't just a farming tool, it was a way to turn the boundless energy of the earth into sustenance and growth. The compass, on the other hand, became a guide to the infinite, helping sailors and explorers navigate uncharted territories. Its needle, always pointing north, seemed to embody the idea of a fixed point in an ever-changing world, a reminder that even in the face of the infinite, humanity could find direction. Perhaps no technological achievement better captures the connection between innovation and the infinite than the aqueducts of Rome. These monumental structures, which brought water from distant sources to the heart of the empire, were feats of engineering that seemed to defy the limits of human capability. The aqueducts weren't just practical, they were poetic, transforming the infinite flow of water into a lifeline for cities, baths, and fountains. Each arch and channel was a testament to the Romans' ability to harness the infinite, turning natural forces into tools for civilization. The aqueducts weren't just about water, they were about the boundless ambition of a society that refused to be limited by geography or resources. These early technological advancements reveal a profound truth. The infinite wasn't just something to be pondered, it was something to be conquered. Through innovation, early societies found ways to measure the immeasurable, to reach the unreachable, and to make the infinite tangible. Each invention, from the wheel to the compass, from writing to the aqueducts, represented a step forward in humanity's quest to understand and interact with the boundless. These tools weren't just practical, they were symbolic, reflecting the belief that the infinite was not a distant concept but a challenge to be met with creativity and determination. As we reflect on these early innovations, we see how they shaped not just the material world, but also the way people thought about their place in the universe. The wheel, writing, ships, and aqueducts weren't just tools, they were expressions of humanity's unending curiosity, its drive to explore, and its belief in the infinite potential of the human spirit. These advancements remind us that the infinite isn't just something out there, it's something we carry within us, a spark of creativity that continues to light the way forward. From the pyramids of Egypt to the star charts of the Maya, from the philosophical debates of the Greeks to the mathematical breakthroughs of ancient India, early societies approached the infinite with a mix of curiosity, creativity, and determination. They didn't have telescopes or calculators, but they had something just as powerful, a deep desire to make sense of the boundless and the unknown. Whether through astronomy, architecture, mathematics, or myth, they found ways to measure what couldn't be measured, to map what couldn't be mapped, and to touch what couldn't be touched. Their methods were as diverse as the cultures that invented them, but their goal was the same: to understand the infinite and, in doing so, to understand themselves. What's truly remarkable is how these ancient ideas continue to resonate today. The Mayan concept of cyclical time parallels modern theories of cosmic cycles, while the Greek philosophical debates about infinity laid the groundwork for calculus and theoretical physics. The intricate calendars of the Babylonians and the precise astronomical observations of the Egyptians remind us that the quest to measure the infinite is as much a part of our scientific heritage as it is a spiritual one. Even the symbols and rituals that early societies used to connect with the infinite, from the ouroboros to the mandala, still inspire artists, thinkers, and dreamers around the world. But beyond their historical significance, these early attempts to grasp the infinite remind us of something even more profound: the human spirit's unyielding drive to explore, to question, and to create. The infinite isn't just a mathematical concept or a philosophical idea. It's a reflection of our own boundless potential. Every time we look up at the stars, every time we marvel at the complexity of the universe, every time we push the boundaries of what we know, we're continuing a journey that began thousands of years ago. The tools may have changed, but the quest remains the same. So, what can we learn from these early attempts to measure the infinite? Perhaps it's that the unknown isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's a reminder that curiosity is our greatest tool, that imagination is as important as calculation, and that the infinite isn't just out there, it's within us. Every time we ask a question, every time we seek to understand, we're part of a tradition that stretches back to the dawn of civilization. And that tradition isn't just about finding answers, it's about finding meaning. If this journey through the mysteries of the infinite has sparked your curiosity, I encourage you to keep exploring. Dive deeper into the stories, the science, and the philosophies that have shaped our understanding of the cosmos. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What fascinates you most about humanity's quest to understand the infinite? And don't forget to subscribe for more content on historical mysteries, where we'll continue to uncover the timeless stories that connect us to the past, the present, and the infinite possibilities of the future. As we close this chapter, let's carry forward the sense of wonder that drove those early societies to look up at the stars and ask, what lies beyond? Because in the end, the infinite isn't just something we measure, it's something we become. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I can't wait to explore the next mystery with you. Until then, keep wondering, keep questioning, and keep reaching